Hello everyone and welcome back to American Nightmare. Have you ever experienced that sudden, unexplained chill when you look at someone you've known your entire life, and for a split second, they look like a stranger? In the world of horror fiction and internet creepypastas, there is a trope called the came back wrong phenomenon. It's that skin-crawling idea that a person went away, maybe they disappeared, maybe they died, or maybe they just fell asleep, and the entity that returned in their place is a hollow imitation. A replica wearing a human mask. But what happens when that trope steps out of the screen and into our actual lives? Tonight, we aren't talking about ghosts or skinwalkers. We are talking about the terrifying reality of the human mind and the dark corners of history. We're exploring 3 cases where the DNA said yes, the face said yes, but the soul said no. From ancient superstitions that led to murder, to a medical condition that turned your family into monsters, and a con artist who fooled a grieving mother. These are the real stories of the people who came back wrong. If you're ready to question everything you see, hit that subscribe button. Let's head into our first nightmare. Case 1. The Changeling of Tipperary. To understand why we are so afraid of imposters, we have to look back at our ancestors. Before we had psychiatry, we had folklore. In 19th century Ireland there was a deeply held belief in changelings. The legend was simple. Fairies, or the good people, would kidnap a healthy human and replace them with a sickly, ill-tempered creature that looked exactly like the victim. In 1895, in County Tipperary, this folklore turned into a documented American Irish nightmare. Bridget Cleary, who was a 26-year-old woman, described as independent, beautiful, and successful. She was a dressmaker who even had her own income, which was rare for the time. One day, she walked miles in the rain to deliver eggs and returned with a violent chill. Within days, she was bedridden, suffering from what doctors would likely call bronchial pneumonia today. But her husband, Michael Cleary, didn't see a sick wife. He saw a changeling. He noticed her personality had changed. She was irritable, her skin was pale, and she didn't seem like the Bridget he married. Michael became convinced that the real Bridget had been stolen by fairies and that the woman in his bed was an entity from the other side. What followed was a slow-motion descent into madness. Michael, supported by Bridget's own father and neighbors, began a series of rituals to drive the imposter out. They forced her to drink herbs and milk mixed with urine. They held her over a hot stove, demanding she admit she was a fairy. On the final night, Michael's obsession reached a breaking point. He was so convinced she was a fake that he doused her in kerosene and lit a match. He didn't think he was killing his wife. He thought he was burning the mask to make the real Bridget reappear. Michael was eventually convicted of manslaughter, but the chilling part of this story isn't the fire. It's the fact that an entire community looked at a woman they had known for years and agreed that not her. Folklore gave them a license to see a human being as an it. It was the first recorded case of the came back wrong phenomenon ending in a legal trial. Case 2. The Broken Wire, the Capgras Delusion. If the story of Bridget Cleary sounds like ancient superstition, our next case brings the horror into the modern laboratory. There is a condition called Capgras Delusion, and it is perhaps the most terrifying neurological disorder in existence. Imagine this. You walk into your living room. You see your mother sitting on the couch. You recognize her hair, her glasses, her voice. Your brain tells you, that is my mother. But the emotional trigger, that warm feeling of safety and love, never happens. Because that emotional wire is broken, your brain tries to solve the logic puzzle. It concludes, if she looks like my mum, but I don't feel she is my mum, then she must be an identical imposter. One of the most chilling real-life cases occurred in the 1980s in Australia. A young man, let's call him D, suffered a traumatic brain injury in a car accident. When he woke up from his coma, he seemed fine until he saw his father. D told the nurses, "That man looks like my father, but he's a stranger. A very good actor, but not him." He believed his real father had died in the accident and that the government or some secret organization had replaced him with a robot or a double. This isn't just a misunderstanding. To D, his father had come back wrong. He began to observe the man's every move, looking for a glitch in the performance. He would watch his father eat, sleep, and talk, becoming increasingly aggressive because the imposter was invading his home. The horror of Capgras is that it's a pure delusion. You can be perfectly sane in every other way. You can do math, hold a job, and have a conversation. But when you look at your spouse, you see a monster. It is the ultimate betrayal of the senses. It proves that the people we love aren't just faces and DNA, they are feelings, and when the feeling dies, the person dies with it. even if they are standing right in front of you. Case 3. The boy with the different eyes, the imposter. Our final case is the one that most literally fits the came back wrong description. It's the story of Nicholas Barkley. In 1994, 13-year-old Nicholas disappeared while playing basketball in San Antonio, Texas. For over 3 years, his family lived in a state of constant grief and mystery. Then, in 1997, they got the call they had prayed for. Nicholas had been found in Spain. He claimed he had been kidnapped by a child trafficking ring and had finally escaped. When his sister Curry went to Spain to fetch him, she met a boy who looked different. The original Nicholas had blue eyes and blonde hair. This boy had brown eyes and dark hair. He spoke with a strange European accent. He seemed terrified, older, and traumatized. But Curry was so desperate for her brother to be alive that she didn't care. She brought him home to Texas. For months, this Nicholas lived in the Berkeley house. He slept in Nicholas's bed. He ate at their table. He shared memories with them. But the uncanny valley feeling began to set in for everyone else. Private investigators and FBI agents noticed the discrepancies. How does a boy's eye color change? How does he lose his Texas accent entirely? The truth was a shock to the system. The boy wasn't Nicholas. Sue was Frédéric Bourdin, a 23-year-old French serial imposter known as the Chameleon. Bourdin had spent his life stepping into the skins of missing children. But here is the American nightmare part of the story. Why did the mother and sister accept him? Even when the FBI proved he was a 23-year-old Frenchman, the mother defended him. Some believe she was so blinded by grief that she forced herself to believe the lie. Others believe there is a much darker reason, that the family knew the real Nicholas was never coming back, and an imposter was better than a ghost. Bourdin had come back wrong by design. He exploited the uncanny valley of grief, proving that sometimes we are so afraid of the truth that we would rather live with a stranger than face the empty chair at the dinner table. Closing, the shadow in the mirror. These 3 cases, the folklore of Bridget Cleary, the biology of Capgras, and the cold calculation of Frédéric Bourdin all point to the same terrifying truth. Identity is a fragile thing. We rely on our eyes, our brains, and our hearts to tell us who is real. But as we've seen today, all 3 of those things can be fooled. The came back wrong phenomenon isn't just a horror movie trope. It is a haunting reminder that we are all just one brain injury, one superstition, or one master manipulator away from becoming a stranger in our own homes. So, I have to ask you, have you ever looked at someone you love and felt that glitch? Have you ever felt like you were the one who came back wrong? Let me know your stories in the comments below. I read every single one. I'll be back next Wednesday with another chapter of the American Nightmare. Make sure to like the video if it gave you the creeps, and subscribe to join the family, the real one. I promise. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and most importantly, stay safe. Peace out.